Good morning and welcome to the Haven Financial Group radio show. I'm Larry Kallevig, founder and CEO of the Haven Financial Group, and we're very grateful you're listening this morning. At any time, give us a call if something resonates, if you have questions, if it's time to get a review, whatever it is. 612-504-8400. Visit us online at havenfinancialgroup.com. Check out all the classes, our continuing education we have throughout the year in all these retirement topics. We're big into education, always have been, celebrating our 11-year anniversary. And Kim, good to be with you again. A lot to talk about, and it's really not going to be about the smoke that we've had in recent days, that's for sure.
It's the craziest thing, isn't it? And it is the subject everybody is talking about. There's no two ways about that.
For sure. How can you not?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it's been a really good reason not to go out for a jog. I kind of like that. You know, once in a while you need a little break.
It's been my excuse for a few days.
I might use it in the future, whether they're smoke or not.
You're right.
Yeah, we do have a lot to talk about this week. We're going to be chatting about planning for a retirement that's truly yours. And, you know, really, Larry, this sort of goes along with what you say all the time. And that's that, you know, your retirement is not like the guy next door's or your brother-in-law's or your father's for that matter.
It isn't. It isn't. Probably doesn't look anything like it. So don't get caught into the one glove fits all. My neighbor does it this way, or my brother does it this way. That's the way I should do it. There are so many variables that should go into the decision making when it comes to retirement and retirement planning. And it's why you and I every single week encourage folks, let's start with a plan and have an updated plan. But a lot of folks, their plan is hope. And we like to have hope and faith. Of course we do, but hope is not a plan. So it takes some doing. It may seem overwhelming. Where do you start? I don't trust a financial advisor. You know, whatever it is, there's always these preconceived ideas on why and excuses that we have as humans to put off what we, can do in some other day rather than get it done today. So that's why it's so important. And we're going to talk more about that in today's show.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to start with where maybe you should start, which would be a pre-retirement checklist. And then we're going to talk about designing a tailored retirement income strategy. We'll talk a bit about tax planning and the strategy related to retirement. And finally, managing healthcare and longevity expenses. All of these very important issues when we start talking about putting together a retirement plan that is tailored just for you. While there are some generic subjects, and these are some of them that we're going to hit on here, that are good for everyone to look at, obviously, as Larry has said, with the help of a great partner like Haven Financial Group, you can put together a plan that is perfectly tailored, curated for you and the kind of retirement that you're looking for. And we'll talk more about that as we go along. Let's talk about this pre-retirement checklist, though. First off, Larry, when do you think people should start putting this list together and start checking off the boxes?
For many that are listening, probably weeks or years ago, but we'll deal with the future. How about today? Or how about this week? Anytime, sooner than later. We can go into all the reasons why, the power of compounding, and how you can reach your goals in a much better way if we just get started. And maybe it starts with that 401k. Make sure you take advantage of the match maybe you have with your employer, and then increase that every year, and you'll be surprised at the outcome. So, map out what that timeline is. Is it 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? And set those goals for where you need to be at during those really those crossroads of those time frames. And that way you can stay on track. And with that retirement timeline, that may be 65, it might be 60, whatever it is, we can stay in line with where we're supposed to be. And then it's important, and this is where we do a lot of at Haven Financial Group, is let's address where is your income going to come from. It's why we teach a lot on Social Security, because for many, Social Security is the biggest income stream for retired Americans. So what does that look like if you're married for you and your spouse? What is the right time for that? It's why we do Social Security timing reports. If you come in, you'll get one. And what does that look like? Do you have pensions? Not many do anymore. Okay, so then what other income sources do you have? Would it be dividend income? Would it be some sort of other income sources? And then what do you need in order to really take care of those expenses on a monthly basis? And, you know, well, what are your expenses? Maybe you've never sat down to do a budget. Maybe this is the time to start that, because we want as accurate numbers as possible in order to have accurate outcomes.
Sure.
Again, that's accuracy is so important to the best of our ability. So, addressing those expenses, what are they? What will they be? And make sure you address the healthcare expense, which is so underestimated. Glenn Ramey will be on for one segment to talk more about healthcare, but it's such an underestimated expense. Just this week, I had clients of mine for years in from Lakeville, and he lost his job early in the week with one of the renowned banks that I won't say any names, and they were panicked. Now, mind you, they've had a plan intact for probably 12 years. She was very scared. She goes, I need one of those panic meetings. So we sat down the very next day, and
Mhm.
they're in a much better position than they give themselves credit. But had they not started a plan 12 years ago, this meeting that we had on Thursday would not have been the meeting we would have had they not had that plan 12 years ago. So I strongly encourage, start somewhere to get somewhere. If your plan is outdated, or if you're not getting the attention, come in and visit with us. You have
Sure.
nothing to lose.
One of the things that I think is really important, you said, start today. One of the reasons you might want to start today is because if you are in that stage that you can begin catch up contributions to your retirement funds, you don't want to miss that window. You want to definitely do so. And that speaks to so many people who have been in those crazy years with their kids, and a lot of expenses and college tuitions being tucked away and all those kinds of things. And so maybe you haven't been able to save quite as much as you'd like to.
Yeah, being my wife and I have 4 kids, and they're adult kids and still in college, it's easy to make the kids the scapegoat. So let's do that
Hmm.
today. It's the kids' fault why we don't have any retirement savings. Well, there could be truth to that. However, we have to be responsible for our own disciplines, if you will. But you mentioned the catch-up contributions. For
Right.
sure, they've increased significantly over the last several years. And that really goes up after the age 50, those catch-up contributions. So make sure you're in tune with that, whether that be IRA contributions, Roth contributions. With the big beautiful bill and some other things, it's really increased the amount that you can save in an annual year. And that was specifically designed by the current administration to help people save for retirement. That's the intention of it.
Hmm.
Make sure your intention is to get your retirement savings balances where they need to go to support the retirement that you're looking for, and that includes, as I mentioned, income for the income that you need for those daily things like house and transportation and health. And then you probably want a lifestyle. You need income then for the things you want to do, which may be travel, play golf, fish, spoil those grandkids, whatever your aspirations and goals are. That's why the income conversation is so very important to have.
Also, as we look at this pre-retirement checklist, and we're going to talk more extensively about tax issues related to retirement later in the show, but this may be the time while you're still working and you're putting together this portfolio. This might be a time to start looking at tax strategy and maybe some moves that you need to make right now.
Well, we're already well into July. It's hard to believe it. And we're already having these conversations that will lead into eventually the fourth quarter of what is your income look like? And is a IRA to Roth conversion appropriate,
Mhm.
or an IRA distribution to replenish your savings account to maintain a healthy level of savings? These are those conversations that we're going to have so we don't miss opportunities. And that's why tax planning is so important, which I think we're going to get into more in the show, where Lance Larson, our CPA, is going to come in. But, on this segment, as far as saving, reaching those long-term savings goals is a gradual process that relies on regular evaluation, not just set it, leave it. So reviewing these benchmarks is extremely important, and incorporating them into your family budget. You can develop a more suitable strategy for your retirement years. So consider discussing these benchmarks with us at Haven Financial Group, or somebody at least,
Mhm.
to help align your portfolio with what your personal timeline and what your goals are. And that way, you might end up in a better place in retirement than you ever thought you could be. But it does take some discipline and it takes some planning.
Absolutely. So if you're looking for a partner to help you plan that pre-retirement checklist, as Larry just said, there are benchmarks, but maybe you don't even know what those benchmarks are, understandably so, because this is not what you've done all of your life. Give them a call at Haven Financial Group. The number is 612-504-8400. That's 612-504-8400. Tell them you heard us here on the radio. You'd like to set up an appointment, free appointment, by the way. Go in, sit down and talk with the experts there at Haven about your checklist, your pre-retirement checklist. We're going to continue our conversation here about your curated retirement plan, the plan that is just truly about you. And when we do come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about designing a tailored retirement income strategy. This is the Haven Financial Group Radio Show.